I'll listen. It's a nice day outside. You didn't invited me on the recess, so we're gonna make it a good day. It's Juneteenth,
Absolutely.
so yeah, we're gonna make it a great day.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for everybody that's joining, I'm gonna give about 30 more seconds for everybody to join. Everybody that's joining, this is Coach Nakeya Hall. She is the head softball coach at Grambling State University, and she's making history today because this is our first softball guest on the recess. You know, we've been focusing on urban youth baseball, but you know, I've been seeing, especially in the inner city, softball has taken off. There's some great talent. So I said, man, I gotta get one of the best the best softball minds around.
Right. You giving me too much credit, but I appreciate it.
Oh no. Great things. Hearing so many great things. So first and foremost, for everybody that's watching, happy Juneteenth. My philosophy is Juneteenth is every day. For those who don't know, this is the official day that the last slaves were freed in Galveston, Texas. I'm gonna give you a little history lesson. But always understand, Juneteenth, we're gonna celebrate Blackness. We're gonna celebrate love of all people every day, not just Juneteenth. I love the celebration, but let's keep the same energy going throughout the year.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's my history soapbox as a teacher. So, Coach Hall, you know, I did my research. Every coach been calling me like, hey, you got to get Coach Hall on there. You know, I see, you know, you got some softball girls. You got some girls in your gym program. Man, you got to hear from the ladies. So, Coach Hall, you know, I see you have an athletic background. Can you give us and the viewers and the audience who might not know you a little bit about your athletic background?
I will. First thing I'm gonna say is I'm still the best player on my team right now. So I want to get that out and clear the air with that. But no, I played 4 years at South Carolina State University. I shared some time between catching and shortstop, but I was just an all-around utility player. I could play anywhere you put me. Prior to that, I started playing softball when I was 4 years old. You know, and I grew up in California, so you know, we didn't start off with the T-ball. You know, we started with the coach pitch. So, and I still play recreationally, slow pitch and that type of thing. But any chance I can get to show a little something to my team or to my players, I'm doing it. So, so yeah, I've been playing softball since I've been 4 years old.
Okay, so now, can you tell us a little something about Grambling State softball, the direction of the program, and what makes Grambling State softball so much different than any other program in the country?
Well, you know, since I've taken over as the head of the program, you know, my first motto is just to change the experience for the young ladies. You know, they weren't doing so well prior to me taking over. And so that was my first focus, is just to change the experience and the mindset and get them back to winning, you know. So right now we're headed in the right direction. Grambling is a great place to be. Just the culture, the history, you know, the tradition with Grambling State. So it's been easy for the most part to recruit players to come here because of the name, you know. So, you know, I just bring my little positive energy and, you know, and sell that, and people want to come. So we're headed in the right direction. We're already bringing in 8 new young ladies this incoming year, and 2021s. That class is, you know, pretty much set. So it's been relatively easy to bring people to Grambling State, and especially because we're headed in the positive direction. So yeah, it's been great here.
Shouts out to the Graham family. You know, I'm a Pine Bluff alumni myself, but I got a lot of close friends. I know Coach Smoke is watching, Byron Banks, Mike Hall. I can go, Coach Coop, I go on and on, but the Graham fam, you guys have a great alumni base.
It is.
So a lot of people don't understand, right? You know, the parents who have, you know, 5 and 6 year olds, a lot of people think that, you know, baseball and softball are fully funded sports, right? So understanding that softball and baseball, you know, we don't generate the money that football and basketball programs do for the universities. So are there any obstacles that you face with that at Grambling?
Not so much here as Grambling as other places. I mean, any Olympic sports, And that's what we try to refer to ourselves as, not non-revenue and revenue. We just try to refer to ourselves as Olympic sports. We don't generate the funds as the revenue sports. So we just have to be a little bit more creative with the way that we raise funds, either through fundraising, donations. Again, and the reason why I said it's not as tough here, because of the strong alumni base. They want to give, so I've received donations from people I haven't even met yet, and
Right.
Again, I'm like, why are you giving to this program? Like, we haven't done anything per se, we haven't won anything, we're still trying to come up, and I'm really transparent with that. And they Gram fam. When you say Gram fam, the alumni really mean that. It's Gram fam. So but we face several obstacles as a Olympic sports, just overall. We don't have funds to just go and buy. If we need tarp, we don't, if it's not allocated in our budget, then we can't just put our hands on it and pull from. So we do have to be creative with the way that we generate funds to just get the necessities,
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So now, this is one of the biggest things that when I talk to the SWAT coaches, the MEAC coaches, CIAA, SIAC, the historically Black conference coaches, how do you position Grambling, when going after the tier one, young lady? How do you position yourself to make that tier one young lady in softball choose Grambling over a PWI, or let's say a Power 5 conference?
Well, let me be honest with you. We as far as facilities wise, we can't compete with those schools. So what I sell Grambling on is the experience. You're gonna have a once in a lifetime experience. You're gonna make memories that you're not gonna make anywhere else. You're gonna play for one of the funnest coaches, the best, you know what I mean, in all of softball. So, I sell the experience. You're not gonna go to a homecoming that's like Grambling's or any other HBCU. You know what I mean? You're not going to go to a basketball game where the Greeks or the different fraternities and sororities just on the floor strolling. So you sell the experience and the memories that you're going to make along the way. And again, you're still going to learn, you're going to develop, you're going to play games, you're going to do everything that those other schools do. However, we're just not going to have all the bells and whistles, So if you're into bells and whistles with a mediocre experience, then go to a Power 5, go to a SEC, go to, but if you're wanting to have memories, have a family that you're going to have forever, some of my best friends I played with in college, so if you want to be invited to somebody's wedding that you went to college with that was on your team, go to a HBCU, have that experience, so that's what I sell. And some of them come, some don't, and to be honest, if you can just get the looks, of some of those players and they're interested in your program, that's a win. You're not gonna probably get them, but if you can get them to become interested, that's a win for you.
Man, it's major that you just said that. And as Ashley Smith, she was a shortstop at Pine Bluff. Shout out to Ashley Smith. She was a shortstop at Pine Bluff from 2004 to 2008.
Okay.
I'm glad that you re-emphasize, you sell the experience, because,
Absolutely.
me working in elite tribal baseball, as whatever that means, hearsay, but oftentimes a lot of people don't understand the true experience that you get at an HBCU. They don't understand that their professor's gonna wrap their arm around you saying, hey man, I understand that you're going through something, you're a student athlete, let me help you out, opposed to going to the PWI or the Power 5 conference and you just make a number. But we could go on and on about that. Amira Hondras. So Amira Hondras, quick story. Amira Hondras just joined the live. She's been with the gym program. You familiar with the gym program?
Yeah.
She's a super stud. She can play. I'll put her against any boy in the country and hitting the baseball. So she just joined. Her older brother is Trey Hondras, which played for the Jackie Robinson Little League World Series team, and he has just signed to go to the University of Michigan. So I'm so glad that she jumped on. I have to give Amira a shout out. So Now, as we're talking recruiting,
Mm-hmm.
what are some characteristics that you look for when recruiting softball players?
First of all, I focus on grades. The academics have to be there.
Coach, I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time? Because somebody missed that.
Academics, coach. You know, I focus on the grades. Every program that I've been a part of, we've had the highest GPA on the campus in all the in all of the athletic programs. So I focus on the grades, and then we'll look at the playing abilities. But once I'm out, if I'm out recruiting, I'm looking at everything. I'm not just looking at what you're doing on the field. I'm looking at how you interact with your teammates in the dugout. I'm gonna go a little step further. I'm gonna watch you from the car. When you're getting out the car, do you have your mom and dad carrying your
Hold on, I'm
bag
sorry,
for you?
Coach. Can you say that one more time?
I'm
Say it
watching
one
you
more
from
time.
the parking lot. Is your mom and dad carrying your bag for you? And also the parents. I watch the parents. Listen, if I have a parent that's just irate, you listening to the parent instead of your coach, you can't play for me.
Absolutely.
Because I'm coaching you now. So, but yeah, and we focus on work ethic. You might not be the best all around athlete, but if you have the hustle, if you have the grit and you can grind, those are the things that we look for, because we can develop those type of players. The players that think they've already made it and they got it, those are the ones we can't work with. So academics first, the demeanor, how you respond, to your teammates, or if you strike out, if something don't go right, attitude, and then the work ethic. So yeah.
So I'm so glad you brought that point up, because what I see now in travel baseball, I don't care who takes it the wrong way. The mom or dad grabs their bag after they play a game.
Yeah.
They drop you right off in front of the field when you're running the team for conditioning, not for punishment, but for conditioning. They look at you crazy. They in the stands yelling, "Keep your hands back, do this, do that."
Oh, God.
And I work with the youth level from 6 to 14. So that's the foundational level. But a lot of parents think that because they're talking, their kid is going to perform better.
Right.
And that's never, and I'm
Right.
so happy you brought that up, because, after we put this on YouTube, want to show, we'll show our parents, but they have to understand that it is your parental role is at home. The coach is your mama, daddy, uncle, cousin, whoever, when you get to the baseball field or softball field, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, I don't bring kids to come play for me for the 13th grade. I'm bringing in young adults that are coming to college. So they have to be young adults at that point. You know what I mean? They can't be looking for mom and dad, because mom and dad not going to be there every day. You know what I mean? Because some people travel miles and miles. So if you're only responding to that voice, you're not going to succeed. You know what I mean? So no,
I'm gonna take a couple comments, Coach, before we get on. Once Coach Hall starts speaking, I'm sorry, Delise, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Delise has said once Coach Hall starts speaking, she wins you over. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we got on the recess right now.
Too kind.
Oh, HOLLI. I'm sorry. The Instagram names are funny to me. What Delise said, absolutely. Dana Stevens 402 says, love the HBCU experience, without a doubt, second to none.
Right.
Mr. AP 83, he's a coach with Gym Baseball Facts. Ashley Smith, I'm sorry, you were a Detroit RBI alumni. I'm sorry, I forgot. Shouts out to Detroit RBI.
Okay.
So,
if anyone has questions, Coach, they can.
Please, guys, if anyone has any questions, Amira says great advice. Please ask the question. As the recess is raw and organic, but it's meant to be interactive, right? It's not just to sit and get. You go to your class, or you go to a webinar, or you go to the Zoom meetings. You're sitting listening. This is interactive. Pick her brain. Pick my brain. This is what we're here for. So now Amira says great advice. Thanks, Amira. We really appreciate that. So here's where I'm going to speak to the elephant in the room, right?
Okay.
Because, you're a softball player. You have a great relationship with baseball players in college. What is the major difference between softball and baseball?
I mean, Coach, listen. First of all, the game is faster. Softball is way faster than baseball.
Okay.
As far as field dimensions, we know all that is different. But coach, you know, it's harder to hit a softball than it is the baseball. You got to think about the reaction time. You know.
Hold on, coach. You gotta say that one more time. Your dog got a little excited because he's on a recess too.
You got to think about the reaction time. You know,
Okay.
we're 43 feet from the mound, the distance from the mound to the plate. So, you know, if somebody's throwing 65, 70 miles per hour, coach, we did sports science. We watched that episode. That's a 90 to 100 mile per hour pitch right there. Woo. So the game is the game is a lot faster. You know, we utilize a lot of short game. You know, slapping, bunting. We utilize moving the runners over a whole lot. Baseball, y'all just rely on putting the ball in play, you know, hitting, swinging, things of that nature. I love baseball though, so I'm not taking the dig at baseball at all. But I would say that the game is a lot faster for fast pitch than it is baseball.
Okay, so hey, all my baseball players, you heard it here from Coach Hall. Softball is way hard. They say softball way harder to hit a softball than baseball.
It is.
Quick, I got to get to the audience.
Okay.
Prospects alert 2. Kevin Cole, what's happening? How do we start softball? Oh, I know where this is going. Thank you so much, Coach. How do we start softball in the inner city? What can we do to attract young girls? Quick. I don't know if you know Kevin Cole. Kevin Cole has been involved with inner city baseball for 20 years. He's one of the pilots, as I call it, of Chicago baseball. He's done a lot of great things, and he was very instrumental behind the scenes of put together the Jackie Robinson team that everybody saw in 2014.
Right.
He's always been a softball advocate from the first time I met him in 2011, and then I started working for him with the White Sox Ace program in 2014. So he's always been trying to get softball off the ground, but it's been so hard. But I'm glad he asked that question. Can you expound on that question?
You know what? I just think we don't get to those kids early enough. By the time that we try to get them involved, they've reached their peak level. Like, you know, when you try to teach a young lady, or even baseball player, softball and baseball later along in those years, it's hard. You know what I mean? They can't just catch on like it is to shoot a basketball, dribble a basketball. You know, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, he struggled with baseball. You know what I mean? It takes a little more skill to play this game. So you just have to reach them early, get out there and get to the junior highs, the elementary schools, and get them interested in the sport. Because I would like to see a lot more of the inner city kids become interested in softball. And again, we're the better athlete. We have the most talent, but we don't have the IQ. So if we can get to them early and teach them the game and not just rely on the athleticism, then we're going somewhere there. So, but we just got to get to them sooner.
So now let me ask you this. So what age would you say is the right age? Because I know a lot of times the baseball and softball experts, you like, woo, 6 years old, it feels like babysitting. But like you said, and with the rate of baseball and softball, the way it's going, if you're not doing training by 10, you're almost left out. So what is a comfortable age to start softball in the inner cities?
Coach, you said it. As early as possible. 5, 6, 7, early as possible. Just teaching them the fundamentals, teaching them the game, and that's the reason why a lot of us don't go to those Power 5 conferences and all that. We're only used as runners because we don't have the IQ. So it's not about the skill. We're gonna have the skill, but I'm speaking more so on the just knowing the game. Yes.
Okay, Kevin Cole, you heard it from Coach Hall. Insert a good Instagram name. Broom, what's happening? So this is a very good question. He said, why is there a negative stigma with playing at an HBCU?
I'm gonna just say because we don't have some of us are limited resources. So we don't have the facilities to compete with some of the other conferences. So that's going to be it. But as far as everything else, I think HBCUs are on the come up. You know, a lot of our programs are beating the mid-major schools, and we're competing better. So if you would have asked this question 10 years ago, I would have had a long list of things to say. But I think we're changing. You know, and a lot of the schools won't even play us anymore because it doesn't work with their RPI and their rankings when they get beat by
Absolutely.
us. So it's changing. We're on the come up now. So yeah.
So he also asked, how do we get more talented athletes to consider HBCUs first? Very good. Thank you, Coach Broom.
You know what? It just depends on what that person is interested in. If they're, like I said, if they're interested in uh, having 12 uniforms, the nicest bus to charter on, you know what I mean? That's what they're gonna look for. But if they're again looking for the experience, then come to a HBCU because it's an experience like no other. The cheering in the dugouts, the beating on the buckets, you know what I mean? FAMU, for instance, they sound like a marching band when they're cheering, and you know, so you want to have that experience, you know. So the battle is not even just on the field half the time; it's in between the dugouts. It's the fans; they going at it with each other. You know what I mean? You don't
Absolutely.
have that everywhere, and that's what you want.
And I'm thinking back on what you said with it's in the dugout, it's in the stands.
Yeah.
That's life. You're gonna have so many outside distractions going on with your everyday work, with your family, with your job, with anything, right?
Right.
You have to block that out and get the job done. So I'm glad you said it. And as a former SWAC baseball player, it's fun. It makes you competitive. Like it's a natural, man. I love this person, but I hate them on this baseball field. We about to go at it. And that brings out your competitive nature, which makes you compete in the global market at your job.
Right.
Period.
And what else like that I like, you know, we'll visit, and I'm going to bring Prairie View up because I know Coach Bland is listening. He's my brother. You know, we developed a friendship just from competing with each other. And we'll go to eat, to dinner. I'll pay for his meal. I mean, if I go there, he'll pay for mine. And we're going to play each other the next day. You don't have those relationships with other coaches like that. You know what I mean? So, and again, it's no love lost. Whoever wins the game wins the game. Right afterwards, hey, we signing each other T-shirt. Hey, give me, let me grab that Prairie View shirt. You know what I mean? So it's all of that. Like it's just an experience like no other, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
So Coco 30 Barbie, that's my high school classmate. She has kids. She asked, what age do you recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend as early as possible. 5 to 6 years old, just teaching the fundamentals, and just keeping them in the game, keeping them interested in the game, and then just letting everything else develop as far as the IQ and the fundamentals.
So IMR athletics, I recommend 6th grade should start tracking. Absolutely.
Yes.
So a little bit about IMR athletics, and I say this, and you know, this is my boy Jason. He's the top trainer in the country, right? For women, for men, he's worked with MLB, draft picks, Division I, Division III, whatever it might be. He gets the most out of you physically, mentally, and spiritually. So this guy's doing great work. He's so humble. He has a foundation going that he gives back to programs like Gym, programs like Jackie Robinson. He does all of that, you know, for the south side of Chicago and the south suburbs of Chicago. So I'm glad he's listening live. I had him on live. I had him on a couple weeks ago, but he's so great, and I'm loving the energy that he presents to our young kids. Right now, you see, and you know the recess is raw organic. You know, I'm going to shoot it straight. The reason why you see the Chicagoland area urban youth baseball player going to the next level, high D1s, performing in the SWAC, and also getting drafted because of this man, Jason. Like he's brought a whole nother element of the weight room, nutrition that no one else that I've seen with me going to college and me being around pro guys can provide. So I just have to give, not to be on my soapbox, but I've seen what he's done with my kids.
That's awesome.
the future is so bright. I mean, you know, I don't want to get too emotional and all that, but that's my man.
Awesome.
Princess J says, "What's the best way to get colleges looking at you?" Thank you, Jay.
First of all, you have to reach out to those colleges. You know, reach out to those schools. If you're interested, go to those schools' camps. If they're offering clinics, you know, go to those camps and clinics. Don't go to the University of Florida camp and clinic if you want me to come and look at you. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I might not be able to go there and see you. So come on campus, you know, and visit us. And then that's how you get pique our interest, because now we know you're really interested. You're just not sending out a mass email to everybody. You know what I mean? And it just happened to come to me. So be more personable. Reach out to that coach directly. If you want that person, if you want that particular school or coach to come and check your child out.
And Coach Jay is, her younger brother is 10. He plays for me with gym baseball. And I often tease him. I'll say, you know, your sister's way better and way tougher. So, Jay, please listen to Coach Hall and take that advice and do it. And I hope your parents are listening also. Kevin Cole with Prospects Alert, too. I love it. I will start my 7-year-old daughter out this summer. Vernon Bland. They also don't come and visit the HBCUs. Yes, she just spoke on that. She just spoke on that. Like she just said, you have to be personal because their budget and resource is limited. So they don't mind if you come to a camp, they're going to give you an extra look. They're going to throw you a couple extra balls in bad practice if you show tools. Now, and this is, you know, this is just the coaching side of me. If you don't have tools to show, they're not going to show interest. But if you have tools, which is hit, run, throw, they're going to look at it. You know,
work ethic.
And work ethic. I'm sorry, the intangibles. So IMR Athletics says, I think HBCUs allows their players to be themselves and the experience is second to none. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Jason. Absolutely. Ashley Smith, which was our shortstop for Pine Bluff softball, got to start early. They're recruiting much earlier now. Absolutely. So, Coach, here's one of the things, because I know you mentioned the game is faster, right? The game is much faster in softball. How do you adjust to, let's say, if you have a top prospect who's, let's say, a first baseman. First basemen traditionally are not fast, right? But your philosophy and your mindset is to play fastball. Would you say you adapt to her, or would you make her play your game or meet her in the middle?
We can definitely meet in the middle, because if I brought you here, then there's something that, you know, I need you for. So I'm not going to change you completely. But again, when I bring kids here, we got to share the same type of personality, and we got to be on the same page. So we're going to meet in the middle. You know what I mean? It's not all about my way. It's not all, you know, I'm a player coach. So if we can come up with what works best between the both of us, then that's what I want. So it also depends on the game. It depends on the opponent. You know, maybe I don't need a particularly fast first baseman that game. They're not going to do a lot of short game, a lot of bunting. Maybe I do need a hitter. You know what I mean? So we'll make it work. But yeah, it's not my way or the highway. It's, you know, we're going to meet in the middle and come up with what works best for the program.
Absolutely. Coach Smoke, that's one of the greatest infield trainers I've ever laid eyes on, and I got the pleasure to consider him my friend, one of my close friends. He said he's Grand fan, he's alumni also. He said, as a baseball and softball trainer and alum, of course, I just gave you the shout out, HBCU Grand fan, I will be cheating myself and trainees to not encourage families to consider HBCUs. Absolutely, that's what it's about. You know, I see everybody, and this is not a shot at anybody, right? I see everybody with the Black Lives Matter movement. I love it, right? But now all of a sudden, everyone wants to jump on the HBCU bandwagon. Like, let's not get it confused. Let's not get it confused. We got a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, which we've been there. We're not going anywhere. So now, which the things that happen in America, I wish they did not happen. But now that they happen, it's going to open your eyes to say HBCU should be for my child. Right. HBCU should be for my young prospect. the young man that just announced that he's considering HBCU top basketball. Right. Now everybody's looking like, oh my God. And before, you know, which Coach Broom had mentioned, it was a negative stigma around HBCU. There's nothing HBCU is going to prepare you for life and being a black woman or black man in life.
Yeah, and then you want to play for a coach again that has shared some of the same struggles and obstacles that you faced as well. It's nothing like playing for somebody that you can relate to. You know what I mean? So, yeah, nothing wrong with HBCUs.
Absolutely. Now I'm gonna get a little bit in depth with the softball, because you know I watch the softball game. I'm like, whoa, these girls, they swinging. That path looks great. Feet and hands work. As a coach, you know, because this is just, I want to know this, you know, for anybody that I come across, I might have to train somebody in softball. How do you defend, as a coach and as a player, how do you defend the slap hitter?
You know what? You play them. You have several different ways that you can defend those slap hitters. But you set your defense up according to how you're gonna pitch to them. So normally we're gonna stay away from them, get them to hit it to the left side of the field. So you position your third and short in the right, you know, positions to hit to them, get the ball to them quickly so they can get it out. If they dragging the ball with them, slappers, pulling it toward the first and second base, it's gonna be hard to they're gonna be a hard out. So we set them up according to how we're going to pitch to them. So we can defend them. Yeah. Some of them are just, if they're fast and they have that slapping down to a science, we can't get, it's a hard out. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So now, I'm going to get a little technical. How often, because this is the natural motion, right? I don't know if everybody can see me. I can turn. This is a natural motion to the body, right? I know IMR athletes going to appreciate this. This is not. So I know with softball pitching, I see a young lady, she pitched like 30 games. And, you know, so how do you monitor your pitchers, right? Because I know softball, now don't, you know, I could be wrong. Softball usually has, per team, you guys have around 4 to 5 pitchers, but 2 are your go-to girls in any situation. They're going to get the job done. But how do you monitor the arm care? Even though this is a natural motion, how do you monitor the arm care?
You know, you just got to ask your student athletes, to be honest with you, you know, if they're in any distress, if they're hurting. But I've seen softball players pitch their whole year, pitch every single game for their program, you know, and it's no issue. So some, you know, they have, and that comes with IMR train, that comes with the strength and conditioning for the student athlete. If they're, you know, stay on top of their strength and conditioning, then those student athletes can do those things. So you just kind of got to ask your student athletes, to be honest with you. But for the most part, you do have kids that can throw, you know, that windmill motion, underarm, as long as it doesn't bother them and they, you know, they're in good condition, they keep going. So it's just up to them. If you want to keep them on a, like, I know you got to do pitch counts and things like that.
Yeah.
We don't really focus on that. We just ask them if they okay. You think you can still go? Is it yes or no? And, you know, and if they willing and dealing, if, you know, they kind of got a team, you know, got their number, we're going to keep going with them, you know. So we don't, it's great for us because we don't have to focus on, you know, that pitch count and things like that.
Man. So Coach Smoke asks, he says, Coach, what would you consider to be the most important aspect to a softball infielder, especially at the college level? Thank you, Coach Smoke. That's a great question.
What would you consider to be the most important aspect to, having just the IQ for me, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't help you if you have the best hands, if you have, you know, good footwork, if you don't know where to throw the ball when you get it. You know what I mean? So that was one of the challenges that I faced coming in as a coach at certain programs. They ain't know where to throw the ball. So, you know, it's about getting you know, 21 outs. You know what I mean? So I just think the knowledge of the game. But if we're not talking about knowledge, just having good hands, good footwork, fundamentals is the most important. And everything else will just fall into play.
Absolutely. So, Coach, you know, I know IG's looking at our time. I mean, Claflin softball, what's going on? Glad you guys joined. You know, I don't want us to get kicked off. So can you please provide an email to where if someone wants to have some follow-up questions, if they want to know, you know, anything else about softball, that they can reach out to you at?
Yeah, absolutely. Hall, Hall, my first initial N as in Nancy, at Gram, GRAM.edu. Reach out to me. Again, I'm very personable. I don't mind sharing information because someone shared it with me. So, you know, it's about just keeping us in the game, keeping us in the sport, and keeping us knowledgeable of everything that's going on. So if anybody want to reach out, you know, via social media, email, I'm available.
Absolutely. Coach Hall, man, I'm so glad that you took time to join me on the recess. I consider you right now, man, you need to be the spokesperson for the SWAC right now, man. You dropped some true jewels. I love what you're doing. I've been following you. You know, Coach Bumper Pine Bluff speaks very highly of you. Everybody speaks very highly of you. Keep pushing the envelope. For everybody that's watching, if you got on late, we're going to post this to YouTube. Coach Hall will have a copy. We'll post it on the internet and everything like that. Young ladies that is watching this and the parents of the young ladies, start working right now. Get out there. Like Coach Hall says, it's about the IQ, it's about the work ethic. She's watching you from the parking lot. Call. So make sure, I'm back now. So make sure that you guys take this, the parents, the athletes, make sure that you take this and don't just use it and say, look at it like, oh, that was just them talking. Use it. Coach Hall dropped some true jewels on you guys. Coach Hall, thank you once again for joining the recess.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I see the Grand fam is on here on fire right now, man. Shouts out to Grambling.
It's the only way. It's the only way.
Absolutely. Shouts out to Grambling State University. Coach Hall, shouts out to you. Shouts out to the whole softball community. This is Coach E. This was the recess. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks again, Coach.
All right, thank you.